best part, he got wings. Hope they don't get me. Anyway, I talk about boxing. And I'm having a good day, and I said I want to look swagged out. So I said I'm going to wear my sunglasses even though I don't need them. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live, and I cover boxing. You know, when I think of Adonis Stevenson, I don't think of Superman anymore. And it's not because of his performance with Fanfara. If you look at his schedule and you know boxing, he's had a tough schedule. Darnell Boone is kind of like a right to pass hits type dude. You know, he's not even at 500 as far as win percentage. You got Tavoris Cloud, okay? Don't act like you don't know who he is. Gabriel Campillo, Bernard Hopkins, most recently Bertiev. You got Chad Dawson, who was the recognized WBC the guy at 175. He almost seemed like he was like going to be holding it down for a nice little while. Then you got Tony Bellew, who a lot of Americans don't know, but he's good, and I know who he is because I cover his fights. But it's not your fault because you can't see the fights. Then you got Fanfara, an up and coming ESPN fighter, and basically he's been winning. So what I'm saying is he was a good fighter. Now, you can say, you know, that, oh, well, he fought Bellew. Nobody know who he is. Or he fought Fanfara. Nobody know who he is. But no, he's fought a tough schedule. Now, it's not taken up for it because, truthfully, I'm not an Adonis Stevenson fan. Period. But when I look at the schedule, I say, okay, all right, he slipped up. He slipped up between Bellew and Fanfara. Why? It's because of thank you, Al Heyman. That's when he got signed by Al Heyman right before, in between the Tony Bellew fight and that was in November of last year, and the May fight, which was against Fanfara. So between that time, he got signed by Al Heyman, and guess what? He was on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook stunting. And if you don't know what stunting means, it means that showing off. It means that he's buying shit and showing it. Like he's taking pictures, you know. Listen, he get a new apartment. He's showing the shit like, oh shit, thank you, even all like showing that nice little sky with the skyline. Then he goes straight to the dealer, pay for the car all cash. I forgot what it was. It was a drop top something. Forgot what it was, and he just sitting there like, ah. And you know he used to be a pimp, but. You know, and then somewhere between that, he stopped the hungerness, as Manny Pacquiao calls it. He lost his hungerness. And what I mean by hungerness is that he was too concerned with everything outside of boxing. Like that thank you Al Heyman stuff, like, you know, the money he got signed to. And then what happened? He put on a somewhat poor performance against Fanfara, but Fanfara is good. In fact, if you don't know, Fanfara is signed to Al Heyman, and he's going to be fighting this week. Right now, it is October the 27th, 2014. I'm T Street Controversy. I call the show T Street Controversy Live, and I cover boxing. Fanfara actually, Fanfara did so good in the losing effort that Al Heyman said, say thank you. He's like, thank you, Al Heyman, you signed. You know, so now you see him, he's headlining his old card on Showtime. Al Heyman make it happen. And I'm on the fence Al Heyman supporter because I don't know if he's good or bad for boxing yet. But as far as this track record has been, he is right now. We can say he's bad for boxing right now. Yes. Will he be bad for boxing next year? It all depends on him. But long story short. Now you got Fanfara with his own posters. He got his posters like, and it's like, I'm like, this is long story short. Al Heyman making things happen. Adonis Stevenson is going to be taking on a guy by, I forgot how to say his name, and I'm going to try to spell it. It's Sukhotsky. He's fighting that guy. That guy is 22-2 with 16 knockouts. Has he fought anyone you know? No. Has he fought some people that I know? Yes, because I watched some international fights. He's Russian, by the way. And how can I put it? I don't know what type of fighter he is. So if you don't know what my pattern is, what I do is I'll do an initial video like this one, you know, announcing the fight and talking about the news and the politics. And then for a guy like Adonis Stevenson, I will probably do maybe 6 videos and all the way up to the post-fight, you know, results. And basically what I'm saying is, in between that, I'm going to do an actual prediction of who this guy is and how he fights, and if Adonis Stevenson can win or not, or if this guy has a chance. So as of right now, I'm just talking about the fight being official, and I forgot what the date was. I'll post the date right below. I forgot what the date was, but I'm gonna post it right below. And it's going to be happening in Canada. And people are asking, well, wait a minute, what about Jean Pascal? And is he going to fight Bernard Hopkins? And is he going to fight Sergey Kovalev? Now that's what we're going to talk about. Bernard Hopkins is going to be taking on Sergey Kovalev November the 8th, 2014. I, T Street Controversy Live, will be covering that fight. I will be there, making sure I'm the #1 reporter. And I know, trust me, I know it's going to be made somewhat difficult. You know, I know that I'm not just going to, I know. But what I'm saying to you is that what happens with that fight is supposed to determine what Adonis Stevenson is doing after this Sukhotsky. And I'm sorry, I'm not being disrespectful. I don't want to mess up your name. I'm just saying I'm going to learn it as time goes on. But just like I can say Gennadievich Golovkin. You know, and Pari Sean Latan, the dude that Vasyl Lomachenko fight. So Adonis Stevenson, here's the thing, here's the way I look at it. He has the talent. Don't forget, he's 37 years old. He's not a young guy. Remember, he fought 4 times in 2013. That's when he just, you know, was the fighter of the year and all that. But then once 2014 hit, he got that Al Heyman money. You can obviously see he wasn't focusing on his craft. Maybe because you can say, okay, what, he has 24 wins, and if I'm correct, 20 by knockout. But what you see is that with fighters like that, the question always remains, okay, what happens if you don't knock the fighter out? And we found out about Adonis Stevenson that he had to dig deep, because remember, he was one punching it, you know, he was straight left-handed, and that was the punch throughout the fight. Then after a while, after he went down, he started throwing it to the body. They started throwing the hooks, but you can see he felt unnatural. He had to really, really dig deep. And that's why I say it was a good fight, and that I can't look down on him as far as like digging deep and pulling through. Because there was a lot of times, and think about if you watch that fight live, think about how you felt when you saw like he was slowing down, and you saw it, you watching that fight live, like, oh, he's going to slow it down. Fafara keep coming for him. And then when you saw Adonis Stevenson go down, you got to watch the fight to know what I'm talking about. Please subscribe. Before I go on, running the boxing poll with Real Combat Media right down below. It's the first link in the description box. Once you click it, on the right side is going to be a Hopkins versus Kovalev poll. I'm going to Hopkins versus Kovalev. I need the data. So when I ask people questions, I know that, well, our poll is saying that's a no. It's only going to take you a couple seconds. So, you got Adonis Stevenson fighting this guy. Now, this guy's not just coming out of nowhere. He is top 20 ranked. I don't know his exact ranking, but he is top 20, maybe even top 10 ranked by the WBC. So, if you know Al Heyman as far as what you've seen of his matchmaking, just like he go find guys like Lucas Konyekny, Yoshihiro Kamagai, Charlie Oda, and now this Sukhotsky guy, whatever, I'm sorry. So if you understand his matchmaking, you see that he goes there, like he finds these guys that maybe you may not know, but then they be ranked, but then he bring them on there, he bring them over here knowing that his fighters have somewhat of an edge, and they're like, oh, all right, I'm gonna match you up. I mean, sometimes it works for him, sometimes it don't. It almost didn't work for him with Adonis Stevenson, for example. So this is what I'm saying. if you don't know, Jean Pascal, Adonis Stevenson, that's basically what's supposed to be next. The WBC has been making their mandatories. I'm not going to go into it any further than that. I've said it in other videos. But right now, Jean Pascal defeated Lucien Boutte, but Jean Pascal is fighting on the Lucien Boutte undercard. Go back, check. I did the video. You know, not on Boutte, not Pascal. That's coming up. So the Bell Center in Montreal, where Lucien Boutte, Adonis Stevenson, Dirigeant, and Jean Pascal, where they make their most money, that's reserved for April. So what I'm thinking is Jean Pascal's team is going to come in like, we want our title shot from Adonis Stevenson. Like, we don't care what happened with Sergey Kovalev and Bernard Hopkins. So you got to think on, you know, what the plans are of Jean Pascal. Now I know we all know what the Bernard Hopkins plan is. It's to defeat Sergey Kovalev and then go on and unify the division and have all the belts by fighting and defeating Adonis Stevenson. But Jean Pascal, who Bernard Hopkins beat, like I said, he's right there, and he's the WBC #1 contender. In fact, he's WBC silver. See, it's different. You know, you got to know what the interim belts is. You got to know the WBA World, the WBA Super World. Yeah. But what I'm saying is basically, he's the #1 contender. Simple as that. Now, Adonis Stevenson has been allowed a voluntary. He's fought this voluntary. Wait, I'm trying to figure out, was this the voluntary? I believe Fonfora was the voluntary. So, no, this is the voluntary. And next, he's going to have to fight Jean Pascal, I'm just saying. And the Bell Center in Montreal, where they're all, you know, known for making their most money, meaning the Canadian fighters, you know, in that Montreal area, basically, they have that area reserved. Simple as that. So I'm thinking, okay, they don't have that just reserved for nothing. They're expecting a big fight there. Long story short, Bernard Hopkins versus Sergey Kovalev may run into a snag right there. If I get a chance to actually talk to Bernard Hopkins, and I'm pretty sure I will, I'm going to ask him that question like, well, be hot, what would you do if Jean Pascal, you know, if the WBC says, Jean Pascal, you got to fight him. You got to fight Adonis Stevenson, or Adonis Stevenson, you got to fight him. You know, who else would he fight? If I was him, you know who I would go after? I would go after a guy like Lucien Boutte. I'm not even going to lie, because remember, Bernard Hopkins at one point in time wanted to fight Lucien Boutte. I would go after someone like him. The heavyweight division, the light heavyweight division, is really not, like, there's some good up-and-coming prospects, but it's really not stacked like that. You know, I mean, you got Babette Chobanov, you know, it's just not stacked like that. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. Please subscribe.